Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Wraith, and today I'm going to be going over my top 3 picks for armies of good that do exceedingly well in low points games. So low point games, I mean 500 points or less, okay? So, yeah, that's pretty much the criteria. They just have to perform well in the lower points games. Obviously, higher points is a completely different game, I think, where you can bring bigger and scarier stuff, while still having enough troops to grab objectives and other things like that. So, jumping straight in, we have got the number 3 slot that goes to Survivors of Lake Town. Now, the first thing that instantly caught my attention, and the attention of a lot of people who bring these to small point events, is how cheap their points are. So, you've got Lake Town Militia for 5 points, okay? 1 point for a bow, 1 point for a shield, 1 point for a spear. They're not amazing. They're fight 2, normal 6-inch move, strength 3, defense 4 without the shield. So defense 5 is really respectable with a shield for 6-point models. Okay, 1 attack, courage 3, 1 wound, obviously. But here's where they get kind of wacky. They've got really good heroes. So, we've got Percy, who's fantastic with the archers, because as long as they're within 6 inches of him, they can reroll 1s to hit while making shooting attacks. Plus, he's a 3-might hero for 50 points. Fantastic. Hero of Fortitude, 50 points. And of course, he comes with a bow. He's got heroic accuracy. You've got Hilda, who is phenomenal. 30 points. Sure, she's fight 2, strength 3, defense 3. Only 2 wounds. And she's 1 might, 1 will, 1 fate. Comes with a spear. But she's got heroic strength, which is quite cool. The reason people bring her is for standby our men. If she charges, then during the ensuing fight phase, Hilda and Lake Town Militia within 3 inches of her gain a bonus of +1 to wound if they charge that turn. That is insane. +1 to wound and their strength 3. That is really, really, really scary. Back it up with a spear support. Yeah, you're going to be killing some folks. Now, of course, the last hero I want to mention is Bard the Bowman. 140 points. He's a hero of legend. You will be bringing him because he will open up a lot of slots for you to bring more people into your warbands. And of course, the army bonus revolves around him. The army bonus is any man who wants to give their last follow me. Bard the Bowman Stand Fast will affect other Lake Town hero models. Awesome. Additionally, Bard the Bowman's Savior of Lake Town special rule has its range increased to 12 inches rather than 6. Now, what that rule does is pretty wacky. He basically gives everyone within 12 inches now, rather than the 6, a +1 bonus to their fight value. So now all your militia are fight 3, which is fantastic. And it also works on the heroes. In addition, he counts as a banner for them. That is absolutely bonkers. Okay, so you've got a 12-inch banner and 12-inch +1 fight value. You've got a better Prince Imrahil right here. Granted, you don't have Swan Knights, but still, you do what you can. But for 6 points a model, fight 3, +1 to wound when they're charging, rerolling 1s to shoot. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Plus, Bard's a pretty solid choice. He is fight 5, 3+ shoot value, strength 4, defense 4, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 6, 3 might, 3 will, 3 fate. He's got resolve, accuracy, strike, and strength. Hero of legend, of course. You can give him the windlass for 75 points. Don't bother. You can give them a horse for 10 points. Yeah, absolutely, horses are essential, since you don't have access really to any in this list. And you can give them armor for 5 points. So bring them up to strength 5, which is definitely worth doing. It makes strength 2 bows wound you on 6s rather than 5s. So it's definitely worth it. He's got rapid fire. So basically he can do a triple shot as long as you keep hitting, and you can shoot 3 times at the same target or different targets, but he comes with a great bow, so it's even better. Very scary. That's why he's fantastic. So yeah, Bard's fantastic. In case you wanted to know, a great bow is a 24-inch bow that is strength 4. So it's absolutely brutal for taking away heroes' fate, even killing heroes, sniping them off their horses, and killing everyday normal dudes. I would rate him higher than Legolas. I know he's got his magic shot, but these are strength 4 shots, and you can fire 3 of them. So good. And of course, you've got lots of attacks, because you've got lots of bodies, with the option to have spears. Very fantastic faction, and work extremely well at low points because a lot of other armies won't have this many attacks or bodies to deal with. So I absolutely adore them. Now for the number 2 slot, we have got Rivendell. Okay, specifically Rivendell Knights. Now, the reason these guys are fantastic is because, of course, they're all fully mounted, so you've got 10-inch move for everyone. You've got great movement for grabbing objectives, for getting a charge off, and for staying away from the enemy, because everyone has got an elf bow, and it's inbuilt. So this means you will need to run Elrond, which is fine, because Elrond's fantastic. They're all hard-hitting, because they've got the +1 to wound with their lances, which is phenomenal. And of course you've got great heroes in Rivendell. Now, you're probably going to be running Elrond, maybe a captain, unless you really want to take the tax, and this is the combo that I have run, which works particularly well, but you're kind of hard pressed for 500 points where you can bring Strider on horse as well, for the unlimited might basically. But as for your heroes, you've got Elrond, of course, as I said, 170 points, hero of legend, giving you that perfect stand fast. The first one passes for free. Yeah, it's insane, and it's very, very, very useful. He's also move 10 on horse, of course. Fight 6, 3+ shoot value, strength 4, defense 5, unless you whap heavy armor on him, and you probably should, because then it becomes really hard to kill him. 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 7, which is insane. 3 might, 3 will, 3 fate. And of course, if he's in your army, Rivendell Knights do not count towards your bow limit, which is why he's essential for this list. He's got his special Hafang. I've butchered that, but I gave it a go. It's an elven made hand and half sword, and you get +1 to wound against spirit models, which is really good because the Balrog's quite popular, and he is a spirit. So you're +1 to wound against the Balrog. Awesome. And Army of the Dead are quite popular if you're playing, good versus good events, but it also works really nice against Angmar. Now you've got your Vilya, which is the Elven Ring, so he gets to reroll his fate points, which makes him that little bit more tanky, and he comes with Heroic Resolve, Channeling, Strike and Defense. So Strike and Defense are my 2 favourite out of them 2. And of course you can give him Heavy Armor for 10 points, which I suggest, and you need the horse for 10 points, otherwise he'll just be left behind by your knights. He causes terror, which is good in case you don't get priority, and there's a chance that they won't charge into you, especially if it's good versus evil. And he's got Foresight the Elder, which makes him fantastic for a full cav army, because basically you roll a d6 and keep a note of how much you roll. So if you roll high, fantastic. And when you roll priority, you can choose to alter your priority roll by +1 or -1 using points of your Foresight points, which is extremely useful, especially if you're only 1 or 2 off from taking the priority to get a bunch of cav charges off, or to escape from being charged. You can just burn those 2 points. He comes with Lord of the West, so that's a free reroll for wounds and dual rolls, which is fantastic. So he's a banner for himself basically, and that also stacks with a banner. And he comes with Wrath of Brunnian, which is a 3-inch blast, does a little bit of damage but knocks everyone prone, which is awesome. But it casts on a 4+, and then you've got Renew for a 12-inch range, casting on the 3+. Absolutely phenomenal. Now your captains are pretty standard captains, but you're going to want to kit them out with a lance and a horse minimum. Now, everyone's expert rider in this list, so they can have bows, lances and shields. Okay, so you keep them tanky, but as soon as you lose the horse, you lose the defense. So you become even more vulnerable once you get dismounted. But hopefully you don't get dismounted too often. Now, the reason this list is so powerful is because it's fully skirmish cav. So, which means your cavalry and your firing. Bows, strength 3 elf bows, hitting on 3s most of the time, falls minimum if you move half your movement, which is 5 inches. So you can pepper the enemy all game long if you really want to. Don't expect to make friends if you do that. And then you can charge when it is advantageous to you to charge. So you can start ganging up on certain models. You can have 2v1 fights with your cav against their infantry that get out of position, things like that. So it's very hard to counter unless they've got a pure shooting army or their cav as well. Yeah. And the only other option I would suggest is bringing a banner for those sweet rerolls, because you want to be rolling 6s. So yeah, but having your fight 5 elves, all with lances and shields being defense 6, is nothing to sniff at. Everyone's going to be winning on 6s anyway. But if they know what they're doing, they're probably going to strike for the horse first anyway. So just to dismount you and get rid of those extra attacks, knock to the ground bonus, and the +1 to wound. Very good. And of course the last point is magic. Elrond has his magic. He's got his blast, 3-inch radius, to knock everyone prone, in case you really need that. Which is fantastic versus other mounted lists. So if you're going against the legendary Theoden's Riders, and they're a bit close, and you manage to get the priority off using foresight points or naturally rolling it, you can blast off Wrath of Brilliant, dismounting potentially heroes, but as many guys as you can within 3 inches, and then running off. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, that is Rivendell Knights. Now, swiftly moving on, we have got the number 1 slot. Now, this is number 1, personally, because it's caused a lot of dramas for the lower point games around my area and other areas that I've heard of. Let me know if it's affected your area as well. But if you can guess, well done you, it is the Rangers of Ithilien. Now, I don't particularly like this Legendary Legion because I don't like their playstyle, but they are very effective at low points. So basically the reason they're so effective is you can have Rangers of Gondor in a warband led by Faramir, Madril, Damrod, Angborn and Mablung, and they don't count towards the force's bow limit, which basically means no bow limit. Okay. Then you've got Captured by Gondor. You can have Frodo, Sam and Smeagol. They can either be deployed together as one warband or part of Faramir's. And Experienced Trackers, they gain the Woodland Creature special rule. Yeah, it gets a bit cheesy. Right. They're fantastic at shooting. Like I said, being rangers, they're all hitting on 3s. They've got access to heroic accuracy through Faramir, of course, and you've got a lot of bows. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great to face against, but it's so strong. Low point limits, there's not much you can do about it, especially when you can consider that Mablung has a lovely little ability called Bird Calls. So Mablung and any rangers of Gondor within 6 inches of him, including Faramir, Madril, Damrod and Angborn, gain the Stalk Unseen special rule. Additionally, enemy models targeted by shooting attacks from anyone within 6 of him, the same list I've just read out, do not benefit themselves from the Stalk Unseen special rule for that shooting attack. So you sit in a woods. If there's a woods on the table, you can bet their army is going to be sat in them woods, and they're going to have Stalk Unseen from Mablung, and they're going to be firing at you. And even if you've got all the bows in the world, you can't shoot them back unless you're within 6 inches of them. You can't cast magic unless you're within 6 inches of them. And if you've got cavalry or faster moving monsters, you can't charge them unless you're within 6 inches of them. It's so horrible. Angborn's got a fantastic little ability, Lethal Aim. Basically, he gets a free point of might to either modify his hit roll, in the way roll, or wound rolls. So that's a nice little extra. And bear in mind, these both are 35 points each. All with 1 might, 1 will, 1 fate. Fight 4, 3+ shoot value. Strength 4, defense 5. 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. That is a bargain. Absolute bargain, especially Mablung and his ability. 35 points, that's way too cheap. Yeah, so great shooting, Stalk Unseen. Now, the hero buffs I've gone over, but I haven't gone over the heroes, so, well, I've gone over 2 of them. Faramir is a fantastic hero in his own right, okay? So, basically, with Faramir, you have got 85 points for him, and you can give him a horse for 10 points, which is no point because you want the Stalk Unseen. But he is fight 5, he's strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6, 3 might, 3 will, 2 fate, which is awesome. Resolve, he's got heroic accuracy, like I said, strike and defense, and pretty much everyone's got heroic accuracy in this list. Is there a captain here who still has the courage to do his lord's will? If Denethor's part of the same army of Faramir, he gets a bunch of buffs, but you can't bring Denethor. Faramir must be your leader. Now we've got Damrod, I think, Madril. So Madril's fantastic because you get a +1 or -1. You can affect the roll, basically, for reinforcements when you're rolling Maelstrom of Battle scenarios. That's fantastic. You always bring him. And he comes with March in case you need it. And Damrod, he's just an extra hero. He's a minor hero, so you can bring him if you want. And let's look at the Rangers. Okay, so the Rangers, we all know 8 points, which is relatively cheap for what they can do. They're Fight 4, Strength 3, Defense 4, 1 Attack, 1 Wound, Courage 3. But their shoot value is 3+, which makes them very good with a bow. And they all come with bows. You can give them spears for spear support, so you've got access to spear supports. Oh, scary. You can bring captains and Minas Tirith if you want, or I think you can bring Ranger captains that you should. Well, captains and Minas Tirith, yeah. You can bring warriors and Minas Tirith. That's pretty much it, and Ascilith veterans. But you want Rangers. Okay, that's what the Legendary Legion's called. Rangers of Ithilien. So that's what I'd go with. Now, let's talk about combos. Okay, of course, the great combo that I'm referring to is having Frodo Baggins. Frodo Baggins has the ring, okay? Which means, when he puts it on, the first turn you can move him. You basically want to give him an Elven Cloak. I think you can give him an Elven Cloak. I will double check this. Yeah, he comes with it, so 85 points, because he's got Mithril, Sting, and an Elven Cloak. Bring him, sit him in the woods next to Faramir. That's all he's going to do. Then when the big bad evil guy, Azog, Balrog, you name it, someone big and scary, comes up to him, you then go up to them with Frodo, charge Frodo, because he's probably going to pass his courage test, because he's pretty good, and you charge him with Faramir, okay? You strike up with Faramir, all you need to do is roll a 1, so you cannot fail with Heroic Strike, and you will outfight them, without a doubt. Like, there's no way they can get higher. Even if they're fight 10, like the Balrog is, their ring halves their fight value, so he'll be fight 5 for that fight. So you can outfight anyone with 1 Heroic Strike, guaranteed. Terrifying combo. Then, if you've got, say, the Balrog, Azog, Bolg, whatever, trapped by other rangers, they're probably going to go down hard. Okay, doubling the strikes up. Yeah, it's pretty scary and pretty effective. That's if you get into combat. So that is your failsafe if the big bad evil guy gets in too close. Yeah, so that's my list. Let me know if you think I missed any. The only one that I want to give an honourable mention to is probably the Riders of Theoden Legendary Legion. They're extremely competitive at this low point level, but the only reason they didn't make the cut is because I've seen more Rangers than I've seen Riders of Theoden, and I didn't want 2 fully mounted lists in this list. So, yeah. Otherwise, they probably would have taken the top slot. It's hard. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think they're better? Do you think I missed anyone? Do you think I'm wrong with anything? Or do you think I'm right? Thank you ever so much for watching my video. If you did enjoy it, do consider liking. And if you're feeling especially sane today, do consider subscribing. But even if you don't do either of those things, I still hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.